Now, I want to preface this video by saying this. I know that it's unfair to compare a studio like Ripple Effect, backed by DICE, Criterion, and EA, to a small studio who just got picked up by a publisher a couple of years ago and are creating a game in the same vein and same realm as Battlefield. But my observations may surprise you here. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoy the content. Subscribe for more FPS multiplayer gameplay content videos and everything in between. My new merch drop is only available until next Friday, so be sure to pick up a t-shirt and hoodie and support the channel. World War III has a lot of similarities to Battlefield 2042. They're both near future, combined arms, multiplayer FPS with game modes all about controlling sectors on a map. Both games bring a lot to the table, and I wanted to have a real discussion about the two games and not just clickbait the title by saying World War III is a Battlefield killer. But after all the shit that we've seen this week with the Battlefield beta and its major issues, World War III is actually looking better and better every time I think about it. The largest issue that the community has with Battlefield is the specialist system. It's impossible to distinguish friend from foe, especially playing with a limited or no HUD. The same clones just running around with this weird no-pat lore that makes no sense when you really boil down the gameplay decisions. World War III, on the other hand, has customization in droves. You can change everything down to your gloves, your face paint. This lends more to that no-pat style lore that Battlefield is going for, and it's a completely different game. I honestly think World War III is the better option when it comes to the customization and distinguishing teammates and allies and enemies issue. Loadout customization in Battlefield is a lot more open this time around, opting to rid themselves of classes and instead push a gadget from each operator and letting you use any primary, secondary, grenade, or gadget second slot that you want. So you can be a sniper with a frag grenade and ammo pouch while using a grappling hook, and it's kind of insane. I actually do like it. World War III does the same kind of thing, allowing you a primary, secondary, gadget, and grenade, but everything is tied to weight. So if you want to run an LMG, a shotgun, and an RPG, you're going to move around like a turtle, but it can technically be done. I'd say in both games the approach is similar, but I can't really give anyone the one-up here. They're different. If you're a classic Battlefield fan, both games this time around are going to be foreign to you in this sense. But if you're a fan of games like Modern Warfare, I'd actually say that World War III is more in line with that experience, especially when it comes to the gunsmith customization, which is something that Battlefield kind of has, but World War III does it so much better. You can customize everything down to the foregrip, the sight, the barrel, everything, and you can put different sprays on it. There's a whole bunch of camo customization. Battlefield just isn't really competing at that level. Now, obviously, this is going to change when the game comes out. I'm comparing the beta to the World War III alpha test, but right now, I actually think World War III has a better loadout customization than Battlefield does. Visually, graphically, I obviously got to give it to Battlefield on this one. Their weather effects, lighting, and particles, they're just superior to World War III. However, I don't actually think World War III looks like a bad game. It looks great, especially for an indie-style FPS. It rivals a lot of AAA games at this point, but you're not touching DICE when it comes to graphics. You're just not, and I understand that. If I were comparing animations from Battlefield 2042, however, to the updated alpha test for World War III, surprisingly, I'd actually give it to World War III. Now, they don't have a lot going on in terms of grappling hooks and parachuting and jumping off of huge fucking skyscraper buildings, but just comparing ground combat soldier to soldier, World War III at this stage, after their animation update, actually feels smoother and more put together than Battlefield. Leaning mechanics are something that I think Battlefield should eventually do. Both games have tactical sprint, and it works and looks fine on both. The biggest difference on the same feature is their attachment system. Battlefield opted to open up a menu with a cross on screen. You kind of look at your gun and change your attachments from there. World War III has a backpack screen that opens up on the left side. Now, visually, I think World War III has the edge, but I do love the quick action of the Battlefield system as well. Now, for the biggest difference and where I think at this stage World War III actually falls way short is the audio. World War III is honestly dead on arrival if they don't change and completely redo their audio system. I've complained about it in recent videos. It's impossible to locate enemies, track gunshots, or do anything to survive relating to audio. Explosions are muffled, guns sound like they're just shooting like BBs. It's brutal. DICE has them beat tenfold here. You guys have seen my videos this week. DICE's audio is great. Explosions are punchy. Gunshots are just feels good. I love listening to Battlefield audio. Their soundtrack is better than World War III's. Everything to do with audio, DICE just has the upper hand, and it's obviously due to the resources, but regardless, I still think World War III needs to do a lot better. Now, the other thing that I would give to DICE at this point is the amount of players in a match. The recent alpha test for World War III showed us a 20v20 game with no AI in the match to fill those slots. So it's 40 players compared to Battlefield's 128 slots with the AI kind of running to fill those slots that are empty. I honestly think that pushing the limits of multiplayer lobbies is where multiplayer FPS has to go. 128 players is nice on DICE's side, but considering we had MAG release in 2010 with 256 players, Battlefield doesn't really excite me with those numbers. Like, everyone's freaking out, but I've experienced games with larger player bases, and while 128 is still better than 40, it's still not quite where I want to see it. That goes the same with World War III. I think 40 players in a game like this is just way too small. If World War III could bump it to 64 or even go to like 80 or 100, so a 40 on 40, a 50 on 50, I would definitely be psyched for that. The AI in Battlefield are dumb as rocks, so it does nothing for me in that regard. At the current moment, Battlefield has the upper hand, but I think World War III could try to push that boundary a little bit more in future tests. Now, when it comes to the map design, we got 2 to play on the tactical ops modes in World War III. Tactical ops being that large sector control mode, definitely similar to Battlefield, as well as 2 TDM maps. So we got 4 maps in the alpha test that happened over the course of, I think, 4 days versus 1 map, Orbital, in Battlefield 2042. Granted, Orbital is fucking huge, but like I said in yesterday's video, it's very open and sometimes barren in spots and needs to have some additions and tweaks. Polyarny and Moscow in the TAC Ops mode for World War III, they're really nice maps. Definitely, I think, a little big for a 20v20, and that's why I'm hoping that their plans are to go to a 40v40, 50v50, but with more players, I could see it being chaotic as hell, a la Battlefield of old. The way those maps flow, I also think feel better than Orbital at this stage of the game. Now with Gunplay, it gets a little more interesting. There are moments shooting in Battlefield where I'm sitting there like, damn, this gun feels like a laser beam, and other times it's like the recoil is fucking nuts. Whereas World War III feels more consistently okay. Nothing great, but it's definitely better than a lot of FPSs that I've played. And maybe that's due to the lower player count not bogging down the servers as much, I'm not sure. There are 2 different feels, and it's hard for me to say one over the other at this point in time. Battlefield is more punchy and lively, whereas World War III just feels more consistent. Now, when it comes to overall gameplay, you're getting 2 different but similar styles. Battlefield has those crazy jump out of helicopter with an RPG moments that World War III just won't touch. It's way more grounded in reality when it comes to World War III. A lot of your game time will be spent either on foot or in a tank or a helicopter. It's fast-paced, but not at the same level as Battlefield. That's not a bad thing either. World War III kind of reminds me of Battlefield 2 from back in 2005. A lot more slowed down, a lot more grounded, but still has an arcadey style. They said that they're going for playable realism, and I think it's almost there. Overall, after seeing what both games have to offer, I actually feel way more confident in World War III's ability to have a player base that isn't happy with the direction that Battlefield is going based on the response that I'm seeing online. They could have a comfortable player base that's okay with a more grounded and slower experience if they can polish up the feel and rework their audio engine. By no means will World War III kill Battlefield, steal its player base, destroy DICE, or whatever else people want to clickbait or claim online. Both games can have a nice time providing two similar but vastly different experiences, and with World War III, it's definitely not launching this year, which means it could also grab up the audience that's moving on from Battlefield in 2022 and is looking for their next fix. Both of these games we're talking about today are not final builds, World War III being in an early alpha, Battlefield being in a beta close to launch, meaning all of this is subject to change and most likely will over time. I just wanted to provide a perspective from someone who has put hours into both of these titles and bring a level-headed approach to the topic that I'm seeing thrown around online. Thank you guys for watching. I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. If you've played both of these titles, let me know in the comments. Sound off. Leave a like on the video and subscribe for more multiplayer FPS content like this. And my new merch is available until next Friday. You guys can see the design on screen right now. It's absolutely amazing. And it's basically celebrating World War III and Battlefield 2042 kind of coming out and bringing us this more like large-scale combined arms warfare. And both of these titles are basically staples of this channel. And I'm really excited to see the future of both of these games. My name is BigFry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.